traders in this industry. So those are the lead stories on Standard News paper. But before going further, we join BBC Inquiry to take us to the auditors that you really need to know about the world. And of course, we have DW News Roundup 2 on this medium. But I'm glad to announce that I'm not alone in the studio, as you can see on the background. I'm with Ndey Fatou Jum. Welcome to the Daily Podcast. I think this is your first appearance on the Daily Podcast, right?
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Fatty. And this is the first time and I'm happy to join the Daily Podcast.
And I'm also glad to receive you on the program this afternoon. So let's keep the program with current inquiry going on in the country regarding the local governments, their expenditure and whatsoever that has to do with the country. But the recent one, which has been the mayor of Talibi, the Cardiff Municipal Council, Talibi, his testimony with the lead council is also, it gets a point where it gets a little bit tense. It was a very interesting. So let me just go to that article and then we come to break it down in our own perspective in the country. This one reads from the Standard newspaper. But to remind ourselves and our audience that they are listening to the Daily Podcast live on King TV and King FM with me, Alhagie Fatty, on the display. The call on the indicators became a focal point. However, lead council comments also encountered which report that the revenue has dropped significantly. Lead council repeatedly challenged the mayor's statement, pointing out the point of understanding between the two gentlemen.
The started strike to explain that.
Yeah, central government, what they want to take advantage of him. So those were the two things. And his stand with the central government regarding the former CEO activity and to hammer him. So that is what those were the words of the mayor of KMC. Now let's go to the leader of GMC, Ndey Fatou. Ndey Fatou say he's also denying all the youths that went to protest against Kura. But let's see what exactly Ndey Fatou put on paper, because it is on a Standard newspaper this afternoon. Gambian Moral Congress, GMC leader Ndey Fatou expressed strong disagreement with the anti-Kura protesters, most of whom are remanded in prison awaiting trial for holding procession without a permit. In a statement shared with Standard, Fatou said the scared right to protest stands as a democracy beating heart, yet it must plus within the criteria boundaries of law and order, for which citizens raise their voice in righteousness, dissent, the scared duty to ensure that expression does not masterize into chaos, and that legitimate grievance does not abide illegal made violence as well. He added that democracy, when misunderstood as a licensing to whatever you want rather than accountable citizenship becomes not civilization, crowding, achievement. Both is given parish such as a mob of masquerade as a movement, and and actually dropped in the false robes of righteousness. So my father is saying those who protest is against them because of he said they have no right to go with that protest because they did not have the permit. So you agree with him there entirely?
Exactly, like how my father said, as a youth, you have the right to permit if you are given a permission to do so, right? And also, if you are given a permission to do so, there are some limitations that they will ask you. If you start the permission, here is where you're going to start, and here is where you're going to stop it. You understand? Especially when it comes to between the youth and the police. For the police also, it's their right to understand the observe the citizens how they are going to do protest,
Yeah.
where they will start it and where they are going to end it. Whether it is peaceful protest or protest, is there right for them also to follow it. But what my party is saying that like he disagree that like you're gonna protest without permission.
Yeah.
Of course. And as a citizen, if you deny the permission, then you should go to somewhere. You can go to the court, you understand, and ask that it's a right for you to protest. So if you are denied about that, you should go to the right place and lodge your complaint so that you understand. You understand? Yeah, I agree with him. According to what he said, you can only protest if you are given the right to protest, and if you are not given the right, go to the right place. You understand? Things can be solved. But like, if you are not given the right to protest and then you want to come out and do it, you're not causing a body conflict.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Alright, bear in mind that you are listening to the daily podcast live coming to you from King TV and King FM. This program where we bring you up speed with all the latest that you need to know about your country and of course elsewhere in the world. Still with standard news paper, because as we can see, Barrow established committee to review Poorest telecom price regulation. In response to the recent controversial price regulation introduced by Pura, in the telecommunications sector, President Adam Barrow has established a high-level committee to review the regulations. This was communicated in a press release yesterday from the Office of the President. According to the statement, the committee will comprise representatives from the relevant government institutions who will conduct a thorough and impartial review of the pricing regulation. It also stated that the committee members will include representatives from the Ministry of Communication and Digital Economy, Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs, Ministry of Justice, Ministry of Trade, Industry, Region Integration and Employment, PURA and Gambia Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, GCCPC. The release stated that the government acknowledged the public's concern about the pricing regulations and assure Gambians that their interests, welfare and rights regarding fair and affordable service will be safeguarded. Last week, implementation of a new data tariff by Pura triggered a public outcry, culminating in a protest and subsequently arrested several individuals involved in the demonstration that the police say are illegally are currently awaiting a trial at Mile 2 Central Prison. Human rights groups have condemned the arrest and detention of the protesters and called for their unconstitutional release. So, I think this press release from the Office of the President is very good, but it could have come even earlier than this. But it's a very good move from the Office of the President. They could have done this well since the day that Pura made that announcement.
Yeah, before the protesters will come out and do their demonstration.
It was a very good decision to know the stance of the president as well. So let's proceed with another interesting article. This time around, a task force committee within the parliament revealed Jammeh's Rolex car was exchanged to a Senegalese company with 4 different cars, and according to this report, these cars were presented to the Office of the President. But let's find out what exactly is in this report. 5 Rolex cars are from Jammeh's freezing fruit were exchanged with a car from a Senegalese company, EMG. According to the Government Vehicle Control Famara Sediba, testifying at the National Assembly Special Committee investigations yesterday, said Sediba said the decision to exchange the car was taken by Cabinet when Noah Toure was the Secretary General and Head of Civil Service. A total of 5 Rolex cars, 1 Bentley and 1 Mini Cooper were given to EMG for 4 Toyota Parrot, 2 vans, 4 Mitsubishi L200 and 2 VIP Mercedes-Benz E200 class, the vehicle controller told the inquiry. He explained that the vehicle from EMG were allocated to the office of the president. We are using all of them, said Sediba explained. He added that the exception of the 2 VIP Mercedes-Benz car, the rest of the vehicles were given to the security at the State House. According to Mr. Sediba, the Rolex cars, Bentley, and Mini Cooper were valued by one Ibrahim Njai before the escape. So it's really another shocking, and then I'm sure the authorities will not be happy with this one because of those cars were very expensive.
Exactly.
You change it for another car to another businessman in Senegal. Why all those things are happening? That should not happen anyway. So it's really a sad situation there. But I believe the authorities are taking note because of the parliamentary committee are really coming with a very interesting things that we don't know before are also coming out in this episode. So we'll see. Be reminded that you are listening to the daily podcast live on King FM, King TV, and Choice TV as well. This is your daily podcast. And Urban TV, they are also with us. We have a lot of TVs live joining us in this episode. I think, in fact, we're going to take a short break and then we'll be back with another interesting stories. Ndey Fatou, welcome back to the program. So now what we're going to do, we will bring a testimony from the BBC regarding the protest of the Gambia, how BBC covered it, and then we make our own comment about it because of whenever there's a problem in Africa, especially when it comes to the British Broadcasting Corporation, they always spearhead to inform the wider world the latest thing about that particular country. So that is why we always try to tell people, let people be patient and be more peaceful, and let's respect the order, that is the law, because that is it's very, very important for us to be law-abiding citizens in our country. First, let's see how BBC cover this protest before we digest it. It's very important for us.
Okay. As far as BBC, for them, like in the Gambia, we have the access with them. Sometimes when they have this news, whatever they write, they used to send it to the Gambia. And sometimes they used to write something about the Gambia, especially when it comes to anything. They also used to write it.
Yeah, the thing is like, the thing that like, if you look at BBC, especially there this African corporation, they always talk bad about Africa. So it's true, that program is purely about Africa, but it's not only about they can only come to Africa whenever there's only a problem. There are other developing stories in Africa, but they are not covered. So that's why our politicians, the individuals, we have to be very careful because it's very, very important, to safeguard the peace of this country. But let's join BBC to focus on Africa team. How did they cover this and how did they perceive the protests in the Gambia?
From the West African nation of Gambia, thousands hit the streets in the capital of Banjul to protest against President Adama Barrow's government. And the protesters marched through the city chanting power and people, carrying handwritten placards which read, "Gambians are not slaves to corruption." The demonstrations were against alleged government corruption. Gambians sought justice over a series of recent scandals that have rocked the country.
For such a protest because of, in Gambia, corruption and poverty. Everyone believes that it is not innate but adaptive in this country. Because of we have been living under pillage and plunder for so long, and corruption is endemic in this country. Like it is a norm, normalized here, as of now. And corruption is being seen as many as a religion in this country. People do a whole lot of things and go scot-free. That's why we have 1,002,000 things to protest about in this country, but we chose only 5 for a start to do it.
The protests were led by...
That the price of democracy is eternal vigilance. We cannot elect a government, sit back.
All right. The reason I brought this podcast from the BBC, I just want to prove a point because I don't think that report by the BBC, is correct there to me anyway. Because Gambians, we are not protesting against Adam Barrow, as the reporter said. Gambians are protesting against Pura, even though Pura is directly under the government, you understand. But in reality, the issue in contention here is the tariff, the Pura's increment of it. So that's why sometimes the international media, you will see some African countries, they will ban them for wrong representation. Yeah, so that's why we always tell people we have to be very mindful in whatever we do. And then this is what I always keep on telling people. Whenever the media face with one interview, ask them, that's your right, ask the journalist, what are you going to ask me? What are we going to talk about? Let the journalist put you in the topic. If it's going to be about this protest, talk about the protest. That is the one angle that we are protesting against Pura for aiding the GSM operators in the country in overpricing. That's a fact.
Yeah.
But if you go in the extent, you're now talking about corruption, you're now talking about a bad governance system. There are a lot of issues that are into it. That's why even the protest, whenever we are going, we have to sit, rethink, and plan it, and go out with one angle. If we are going for irregularities with Pura, let's go 100% for that. If you are going for anything for good governance, let's go 100% for that. Exactly. But let's don't take advantage of an issue to jump onto another one. I don't think that's fair to do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sometimes, if you sit and watch those that are coming out to protest, they wouldn't be saying the same thing. Some people will be talking about the main thing, about the protest. Some people will be talking about the hardship of the country. Yeah. Some people will be talking about corruption. Yeah. So many of them come in different angles. Yeah. Just like the way you say it, if you are going to do something, everybody, you're going to be included in that place, you should try and talk in one angle and go for one angle. But now that is not something that is really happening. That's why fake news they spread always, because like when the youths are out, they are protesting against Pura for the encouragement of this DS and stuff like that. And some people are out there talking about corruption, lige amut, halis amut, stuff like that. That was not the main reason. Look at guys and then they were protesting.
Yeah. And then one thing also, because yesterday I read an article on the social media. I'm trying to avoid names on the social media that some of the government artists are noted. They are not doing A and they are not doing B. We have to understand.
Yeah.
Music has its own industry. Yes, generally we are all Gambians. Yeah. But the musicians, they have to champion their music industry. Anything that affects their music industry, they have to say it. Either that thing come from the government or it come from the their funds or whatsoever, but that is their industry. So you don't expect an artist to jump like that on political issues. You know why? Because of even some national issues, artists they cannot just jump like how we do. So we should protect our artists and whatsoever, so that at least the respect that they have from all sectors in the country. Because whenever we involve our artists in the politics, that's going to be an issue. Because probably I'm an artist of a let's say Geneva or whatsoever, but in as much as I see Jelba with MPP, UDP or any other political party, probably I might withdraw. So we don't want, and then at the end of the day, we are the ones going to the social media writing good about our artists. And if we all start writing bad about our artists, we are not doing it to that particular artist, but we are doing it to the nation as a whole. So because of if the artist loses integrity in his own, his or her own soil, outside world will be like voting for the person again. So because it's like some people are now pushing some of the artists to go out on protest, as far as they are here and the government are behind them. So when government is going out, they should come. No, this is what I said. We should not mix things together. Exactly. If we are going for a bad governance system or check of reforms, let's go purely for that. If we are going for the pure issue, we go pure for that. If political parties are going out for a particular issue directly, let's go directly into that issue. Because you applying a permit for instance, to send your petition to IEC or wherever, and then people follow you. You jump and go into a lot of issues that is going to create a problem. We want a good governance, but we want even to have any more problem. But we don't want this country to have a problem, to be honest. Because if the Gambia has a problem today, we are not going to be in the studio. We'll be having this atmosphere and then giving out, the updates to people. Yeah.
Exactly. Come here, but the thing is like many people don't know what they want. Yeah, many young people are there, they don't know what they want, you understand. If you are going for something particularly, go for that and people will understand what is in your heart and what is really distracting, you understand. But if the majority of the people are going for this and we are going for something else, it is not going to be the same. It is going to be different, you understand. When it comes to the artists, for the artists, you know how much industry. What are you writing? What will the people learn from it through your words that you are giving out? Because some people when they you understand. So it's something like it shouldn't be mixed. What it mix, what then say by some help with change men understand? Because they can be more you have the but if you are going out especially for something, go and do that so that people can understand. But don't want that my gain and madam don't so don't have to be into the right way. So no more is all this problem and all this misunderstanding. Exactly.
So very soon we're going to join BBC for the today's inquiry, which the question will be, what does President Putin want now? So in this afternoon episode, that is going to be the whole concept to explain and then let the world understand the Russia and the Ukraine war and what is the actual intention of Putin in the international scene. We will try to cover that through the BBC and then put things as how they should be for our audience. But on a nutshell, it has been a very interesting Gambian podcast roundup because we review Gambian papers, update you, trying to put you speak the only latest that you really need to know about your country. I think that is important, more especially the ones in diaspora. To have an update in the country is good. But on the social media too, a man in Ziganshore born himself, lost his 2 children. The son is dead, the girl is currently at the hospital. But up till now, we can't establish why the man did that. But let's join the BBC inquiry team to tell us more about what exactly President Putin now wants.
Trump's overall approach is actually somewhat similar. The way he speaks about annexing Greenland, potentially Canada and Panama, that is the talk from the world that Putin wants to establish. So he must be pleased with that. At the same time, given the overall chaotic approach of the Trump administration, I find it hard to imagine that Trump and Putin could actually really be discussing the world order.
That chaotic approach could prove a challenge in balancing a fragile diplomacy. We also saw signs of how quickly the wind can change with that extraordinary moment in the Oval Office.
You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling with World War III.
What had up until that moment been an easy and diplomatic conversation descended into chaos.
This country has backed you far more than a lot of people say.
President Zelensky and his team left the White House soon after.
That was a horrible meeting, and of course for Ukraine that had immediate consequences. When the United States stopped military aid, including intelligence sharing, that actually had immediate consequences for Ukraine's ability to operate on the battlefield. Intelligence sharing especially, because many of the weapons that Ukraine uses, they rely on Americans for targeting, for data. And so when that was stopped, that was really a severe blow. But I think the surprise, and nice surprise for Putin, has been how well targeted these blows have been in some respects, and to what extent Trump actually has adopted Russia's talking points on many issues, such as the role of President Zelensky, the idea that Ukraine supposedly needs elections because Zelensky is illegitimate. So for a while it seemed that Trump really was following a script written by Putin.
Kadrilik says that shift in support came as a severe blow to Ukraine. It ultimately led to President Zelensky apologizing. So far, so good for Putin. And while it had looked like relations were improving between the American and Russian leaders, at the end of March, things turned sour. President Trump said he was very angry with comments Mr. Putin had made on the credibility of Zelensky's leadership. At the moment, there is no ceasefire, but it does seem that President Trump shares some of the same agenda as President Putin.
He wants to achieve Ukraine that is subordinate to Russia, also when it comes to military forces. He wants Ukraine to be demilitarized. And of course, it's also the Kremlin's dream to see American troops leave Europe. Americans are discussing that as well.
Putin's long-term goal is Ukraine, and he's currently trying to take that by military force. But it's been a long war so far, and with no ceasefire in sight, and a new relationship with Trump, has this affected his image at home?
Part 2. The Russian view.
My name is Maria Snegovaya. I'm a senior fellow with Europe-Russian Integration Program at Center for Strategic and International Studies. Russians have a different understanding of politics and power, historically conditioned. In Russia, the top ruler, whoever occupies the key position of power, is almost a half-separate figure. Even in the post-Soviet period, Russians have never really voted, the majority of them, against the sitting president. And there was no true power transition in Russia in the sense that an independent candidate, outsider, other than Vladimir Lenin in 1917, really never came to power.
Quite the position to have, some might say.
Most of the time, power has been passed for the previous president or leader of the state or the Tsar to the next Yeltsin, who appointed him his successor. And since his early days, when he came to power, Putin effectively built his legitimacy on rejecting the failed modernization effort in Russia during the 1990s.
So, with so much seemingly already assured for whoever is in charge,
Above 60% right now, it's about 75%. His approval is actually higher than the usual, and that is because he typically gets a boost in approval after he starts yet another war. Wars in Russia have this meaning of uniting the country.
and Maria Snegovaya says that such high ratings also stretch to how people in Russia see Mr. Putin's war efforts in Ukraine, also high, albeit through a rigidly controlled media.
One of the first steps of Putin as he became Russia's president in the year 2000 was to get under control the federal TV channels, which at the time.
Well, that was the BBC inquiry team regarding the daily podcast and then about the Russia and Ukraine war. Putin expect the war to be so quick and then conquer Ukraine, but it has been a long war now. Almost we are into the second year of the war. It has never been. But let's just take a quick commercial break and we'll be back with you on the program. Well, I think the Russia and Ukraine war, it was something that many people think Russia will just come and walk on Ukraine like that. But in war, they say you never predict anything.
Yeah, exactly.
It has been long, overdue.
Yeah, it has been long since these two powerful countries started this war. I can say probably Mugo started it's almost 2 years or more than that. Yeah, they on this war. Understand? So probably.
Yeah. For Russia President Putin, the return of President Donald Trump to the White House ushered in a new world order. This has created a new diplomatic space for Russia, as Trump's world view seems more closely allied with Moscow's ambition. Support for Ukraine has speculations has gone about a latest ceasefire. So it's like at one point in time of the inquiry, Donald Trump was not happy with the words that Putin said, but Putin just see that as those are the facts about Ukraine, because Russia is a superpower. Ukraine is a tiny nation. It's a very small country compared. Russia is huge. But the fact of the matter is, what Russia also, they want to invade Ukraine. That's going to be difficult. They want to destroy the country and own it, add it to their country. So this is the problem as we speak right now. But the ceasefire is going, but it's like it's not producing as how it's expected to. That's why let's jump for peace. Peace is very, very beautiful.
Exactly. Come on, go ahead. But like these West African countries, even between Israel and
Palestine.
Thank you.
Yeah.
These people also are in war.
Yeah.
You understand? Superpower. Understand that? So those are the giant. And what war is something that is very serious. That if you start to prove with you
never know.
Wow, yeah, exactly. That is the problem.
Alright, let's do one or two items with Gambian papers and then go. I don't know how often you do go to Banjul Bara. Have you ever crossed the Banjul Bara bridge?
Yeah.
How many times? Many times.
Not many times, but sometimes.
Yeah, it's like I have a good news for the people of Bara. In fact, I would say Gambia in general, because it's not only the Nyomi people who cross, it's the entire country.
Exactly.
The embassy of the Republic of Turkey, right? The arrival of a new ferry to the Gambia during a media tour organized by the there's a Nigerian team. The ferry is set to operate on the Banjul Bara route. So it's a welcoming news. Like we're going to have a new ferry at the Banjul Bara. I think that's as we speak. This is going to be a very, very welcome news from that part of the country.
Exactly. So it is going to be 3 now.
Yeah, yeah,
It will make the going and coming to be easy.
yeah.
You understand? Because sometimes when you go to the ferry, you'll be seated and waiting for another ferry to come so that you can go.
Yeah.
But as far as this thing happen, you put a man.
Wow.
So the father never become you
Deka.
Exactly.
Yeah, the last one from the Gambian papers will be a property owner assaults TikToker Skyboy with cutlass. Do you know Skyboy?
This boy was my classmate. Yeah, he was my classmate.
Okay.
Yeah, the same class, and even exam we were sitting in the same class. Exactly.
That's all right. That was very good. So, do you know his real name is Bakari?
Yeah, Bakari.
Yeah, Bakari Jallo. All right, let's just take two sentences from this story for proper perspective. Bakari Jallo, widely known on TikTok as Scarboy, was assaulted with a cutlass by his landlord Modu Jai, causing him grievously bodily harm. On Monday, 25th August, the accused appeared before Magistrate Isaac Jallo, where he accepted the charges and pleaded guilty to the offense. ASP Kinte appeared for Inspector General of Police in the matter, where the accused Mobinjai was unrepresented. The charge was read out to him by the court officer and he pleaded guilty. Magistrate Aisabu then entered the plea of guilty on behalf of the accused. According to the charges, on the 30th of July 2025 at Bijilo, Modunjai unlawfully accused grievously harmed Bakari Jallo, contrary to Section 181 of the Criminal Offence Act 2025. The particulars of the offence stated that Njai assaulted Jallo with a cutlass on his head, causing grievously harm. In her ruling, Magistrate Jallo said she could not grant bail to the accused because his actions of assault the victim could lead to further harm. Given that both are residents in the same compound, she further noted that the silence since then, the accused has already accepted the crime, making him a convict. The court cannot grant him bail, but must remand him at mile 2. The full sentence or punishment on the convict because he admitted the crime and did not waste the times of the court. She indicates that the sentence might be reduced by 33% for accepting the truth. The case has been joined to 28 August 2025 for narration of sentencing. So probably on the 28th of this month. Today is what? 7, then it's tomorrow. Then tomorrow this case will finish because of the accused did not deny, he accepted, he took full responsibility. And on that vein, the magistrate might also forgive him as well. So I think it has been a unfortunate story, but in court also, if you know you are at fault, if you accept the realities, if your penalty should be 50, they might give you 25. But if you are faulty, you insist no, you waste their time. If your penalty should be 50, they may even give you 75 again. Yeah, so I think we've come to the end of the program. I think let me allow you to say your final words to the audience and perhaps to your fans too, because I see somebody text me say, Mr. Fadi, who is that guy in the studio? I say it's Ndey Fatou, you know. Maybe they need to know a bit about you. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Your program was nice. It was very interesting. And then also, I'm sorry to this one, Skyboy. He is a young man and a dedicated person. You know, he loves comedy. Since I know him, he loves this comedy, and then also he loves dancing. Anywhere he is, you understand. Maybe it's just the work of Satan. But you know, understand that. So my for you. Let me speak according to my vocal voice. Didn't sometimes didn't get them. Di wax ne saa su nekk dañuy ñëw toog fii jottale askan wi loo xamante ni ñu leen siy dégg amoon nañ si jàngat tamit ñu bàyyi si seen xel bu baax a baax ndax jamono bu nekk dafa doy waar understand nga ñu suñ toogee fii tey di leen jottale nekku den mun wala den xam dafa fekk ne yàlla moo ñu baaxee ñu mën a wax ñu wax ba pare nit yi tamit ñu toog ak nit ñi déglu kon nag maa ngi jaajëfal képp koo xamante ni yaa ngi bàyyi xel programme bi dina jaajëfal bu baax a baax yow mi nga xamante ni yaa ma dalal si plateau bi li ma am ak li ma xam yëpp ñu ngi seeyaa ko fii kon nag jërë ngeen jëf.
Thank you very much. That is Ndey Fatou Jum, and then continue to come in on this program because this is also a very supportive to the platform. And of course, I must say Adama Nyang, who is also who started this program with me. These days he's busy, but hopefully tomorrow or next week he will join us in the studio as well. So from me, Alhagie Fatty, and the rest of the team, we thank you all for the pleasure of your company. Have a we don't. My office is open, it's not closed.